Hey guys! I feel like I did a really good job at color coordinating my outfit with today's recipe. Okay, so it is the week of Thanksgiving, and yes, I'm very aware that I have my Christmas tree up already. I actually put that up for another video, but I left it up because it's so cheery. Anyway, so most of us, I can imagine, have Thanksgiving food on our mind. I know I do. I cannot even wait until Thursday to load my plate up with all the carbs. But between now and the new year, like, we still have to eat normal food. So today I am sharing 4 of my favorite chicken dinners. These are dinners that you can make during the weekdays when you're busy and you're on the go, or they're impressive enough over the weekend if you have company. And pretty much all of these recipes are like one-pot meals, so you don't have to dirty a bunch of dishes. They're nutritious, they're delicious. I'm so excited for you guys to try these. I'm so glad that you're here with me today. If we haven't met, my name is Ange, and this is the Menu Made Kitchen. So first up is our sheet pan lemon pepper chicken. This is such an easy meal to make, and I love that it all happens on this one sheet pan. So we're gonna start with our dressing. I've got about 4 tablespoons of olive oil. I'm gonna add in 1 teaspoon of Dijon mustard. We're also gonna do a zest of 1 lemon, and then I'm gonna juice this a little bit later in the recipe. And then we're gonna add in 1 teaspoon of minced garlic. In goes the lemon juice. And then I have really simple seasonings. I'm gonna do 1.5 teaspoons of brown sugar. I've got 3/4 teaspoons Italian seasoning, 1.5 teaspoons of lemon pepper seasoning, and then some salt and pepper to taste. We'll just mix this up, and this is gonna be our dressing for our potatoes and our chicken. So I keep it pretty simple on the veggies with this sheet pan meal, but you can definitely add other veggies like broccoli, fresh green beans, Brussels sprouts. So I've got a red onion here. I'm just gonna quarter this into pretty large chunks. I want them to be about the size of the potatoes. So I'll just get this whole onion quartered here. And I love buying these bags of baby potatoes. They're so convenient. I don't have to peel them. And I'm gonna use a pound for this recipe, and these bags are about 1.5 pounds. I'm just gonna cut the potatoes in half. If some of the potatoes are bigger, I'll cut them in quarters. And then I've got a sheet pan here. I'm gonna line it with parchment paper just to make it easier for cleanup. And then I'll add my potatoes, we'll add the onions, and then I'm just gonna pour on half of the dressing that we mixed up. I just basically use my hands to toss everything together. Okay, so next I'm gonna spread the potatoes and the onions evenly on the sheet pan, and I just create a little well in the center where I need to put my chicken. So I'm using chicken breasts for this recipe, but you can do chicken thighs. I had 2 large chicken breasts that I cut in half, and this is perfect for this recipe. And then I'm just gonna use all of my marinade for the chicken. You can use a fork, a spoon, a pastry brush to just spread it out evenly. I flip the chicken over and just make sure both sides are coated well. And this is optional, but I'm just going to sprinkle on a little more lemon pepper over the top of the chicken and the veggies just to really drive home that lemon pepper flavor. I also have a lemon here I've cut into wedges, and I'm going to place this around the pan as well. When it goes into the oven and bakes, it becomes warm, and it just really adds a bright flavor to this dish. And finally, we'll just place this in the oven at 425. We'll cook it about 35 or 40 minutes. You don't even need to stir it, and it's ready to serve. Okay, I already cut up my chicken so that I could try this. Isn't that so beautiful? What I love about this sheet pan meal is you don't have to stir anything like halfway through, because the potatoes and onions are so small. They roast perfectly, so I don't have to toss anything. I just put it in for 40 minutes and it's done. I just love that. That is so lemony. And the pepper is like perfect. It's not too spicy at all. I'm like squeezing, oh, I gotta show you something real quick. Okay, so I think I squeezed all of the lemons over the whole sheet pan meal. But what I love doing is taking like the warm lemon wedge and just like squirting it over the potatoes and the chicken. It is so good. Such a delicious dinner. Okay, so next up is my skillet chicken spaghetti with spinach. This recipe is so fast and easy to make. I am gonna have the recipe for this video, but first I wanna talk about the pasta. Okay, before I get started on the ingredients in our skillet, I just wanted to show you real quick how I'm gonna cook the pasta. So my mom gave me this pasta maker about 6 or 7 years ago for Christmas. You put your pasta in it, fill it up with water, and pop it in the microwave. I know, if you're like a true Italian, you're probably crunching your eyes right now. But I'm telling you, I have cooked with this. I'm surprised it's not more beat up than it is. I've cooked with it so many times, and the pasta comes out perfect every single time. If you want it al dente, if you want it softer, if you follow the instructions in the manual, it comes out perfectly. So basically, you measure out how much pasta you want. I'm gonna do a half a pound of pasta today because again, I'm having the recipe. You add your pasta to the container. We're gonna fill it up with water depending on where the line says you should for how much pasta I'm using. I am gonna salt it because I believe that you should definitely salt the water when you're cooking pasta, but it doesn't say to do that in here. I'm just gonna add a little bit. And we'll pop it in the microwave, and then I can get going on the rest of my skillet ingredients. But I love it because I don't have to have a big huge pot on my stove boiling with all the steam. It's just fantastic. And if you want something quick, if you don't want to have to pull out the water and wait for it to come to a boil, this is just fast and easy cleanup. I love it. Also, I am not sponsored by this company at all. I just love this product so much. So I'll make sure to link to where you can get this. You can get it off Amazon, but I'll have the link below so that you can just tap on it and it's ready for you. We're gonna get over to the stove and get our skillet ingredients going, and I'm gonna get this sucker in the microwave. All right, so to my large skillet here, I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of olive oil. I have a half a cup of chopped up yellow onion. I also have a half a pound of chicken breast that I've diced into small pieces. I like to season this with a little bit of salt and pepper, and then I'm just gonna give this a stir and let the chicken and onions cook. And as I mentioned before, I'm just having the recipe. You can find the full recipe in the descriptions. I have a link for you there. And then our seasonings, super simple. I've got some Italian seasoning, 1 teaspoon, a little bit of salt and pepper, and some crushed red pepper flakes. I'll give this a stir and cook it about a minute or so. And then I just have a store-bought jar of spaghetti sauce here. You can use whatever brand you like. I'm just gonna use half the jar, and then I'll add in about 4 ounces of softened cream cheese. And actually this wasn't very softened, so it took me a bit to melt it down, but I just was patient with it and kind of chunked it up into little cubes like this and stirred it for 4 or 5 minutes, and it was perfect. Okay, so now that the cream cheese is melted and my noodles are done, I'm gonna transfer these noodles into the pan here with the creamy sauce. I am gonna save some of the liquid that's left over, so just make sure if you have one of these, don't drain off the liquid. You definitely want some of that a little bit later on in the dish, just to help it keep the sauce kind of thin, otherwise it gets too thick. All right, next I've got my baby spinach. I'm just doing 2 cups for this recipe. I'll add that right to the top of the noodles. And then like I said, I saved some of that liquid. I'm gonna add about a half a cup or so, and I'll still save some of that liquid because if my family doesn't get to this right away, I always add a little more of that water just to thin it out a little bit. And at this point, I like to use tongs just to mix the spinach with the noodles. Pretty much this is ready to serve. Once the spinach is wilted, I'm gonna add a little bit of Parmesan cheese, and we can dive in. All right, taste test time. So easy, right? Like that came together super quickly. I love that, again, my little pasta maker in the microwave is just fantastic. It's such a cool little kitchen gadget, and I don't get suckered into kitchen gadgets very often because I don't like to have to store that kind of stuff, but I love my pasta maker. Oh my word. My mouth is watering. I'm hoping I can get this twirled enough so that I don't make a mess. Oh boy. Spaghetti is messy. Oh, chicken. I don't even want to wait until dinner tonight. I love that everything is in here that you need for a complete dinner. You got your veg, your protein, your chicken, your pasta, this awesome, creamy, simple pasta sauce. I don't make this often enough. I need to. And it's cozy, and it's so crappy outside right now. This is a perfect dinner for tonight. It is about, what time is it? It's 8:30 a.m. I have an appointment at 9. So I wanted to throw dinner together in the crock pot super quick. I'm doing chicken burrito bowls tonight. So I'm just gonna make a super simple chicken concoction in the slow cooker, and then when I get home this afternoon, I'll put together the rice and grate some cheese, and we'll just have really simple burrito bowls. I love this recipe because literally I'm using like 3 ingredients. I have two really large chicken breasts, and I'm just gonna throw everything into the slow cooker and let it go all day and shred up the chicken. It'll be perfect. So like I said, I have 2 large chicken breasts, and I'm just gonna throw them in the slow cooker. I'm not gonna even season them because I have some taco seasoning. We're gonna throw in some salsa and a little bit of ranch dressing, so they'll be plenty seasoned. So we'll go ahead and get those in. Oh my gosh, those suckers are so huge. I probably could have sliced them in half. Okay, next I'm gonna add some of this low sodium taco seasoning. I'm not gonna use all of it. I'll probably just use half the packet. That looks about right. And then I have a 16-ounce container here of just mild salsa. This is my favorite like go-to store brand. I always buy the Baja Cafe, I think is what it's called. Okay, and then I'm just gonna throw this over the chicken, just pour it right over. This is kind of like salsa chicken, but I'm elevating it slightly so that it has that taco-y burrito bowl flavor. And then I have just about a 1/4 cup of ranch dressing here. I just mixed up my own little homemade. I added a little bit of sour cream, a tiny bit of mayonnaise, and some ranch seasoning mix. You can do homemade or store brand, or just use the bottle. So we'll just pour this right over, or I'm just gonna dollop it right over the salsa. And you don't even need to stir this. That's another thing that I love. We're just gonna let it cook. And then once we shred everything together, all of the flavors will come together and it will just be delicious. Okay, it doesn't look very pretty, but it's gonna taste amazing. So we're gonna pop the lid on, and I'm just gonna cook this on low. Since I'm gonna be gone most of the day, I can just have this on low, and it'll be great this afternoon. Around 4 o'clock, I'll shred everything up. All right, you guys, I am home and I am ready to pull the lid off of this. So this cooked for about 7 hours on low, probably longer than I'd want it to, but they were pretty large chicken breasts, so I'm not gonna worry about it. And because they're cooked in so much liquid, I feel like they're probably gonna be perfectly moist and they won't be all dried out. So we're gonna pull this off. I'm just gonna get the chicken shredded right in the pot here, and then we'll give that a stir. I'll put the lid back on and get my ingredients ready, like rice and cheese. I'm gonna heat up some beans, really simple things. I think from the time I got home and shredded the chicken and got all of the other ingredients ready, maybe 20 minutes-ish, like super fast and easy. And I feel like it's such a filling dinner. It makes awesome leftovers. You can put all of these goodies inside a burrito. You don't even have to do the burrito bowl thing. I love this recipe so much, and my daughter is gonna be so happy. She loves anything, like her favorite is Chipotle or like Qdoba, and these chicken bowls is gonna be totally her jam. All right. Oh my gosh. Okay, this is probably TMI, but I just had my braces adjusted today and my teeth hurt so bad. This is perfect because it's all soft. Anyway, you guys, this is so delicious. The chicken, the flavor of the chicken, with that little bit of ranch and taco seasoning, and then cooked in that tomato salsa. This is just bomb. And actually, I just heard my daughter come in the door. I'm gonna get her to come over here and try this. She's gonna be so excited. Okay, so I was telling him you're like the lover of Qdoba and Chipotle. Sorry, that was my dog's ball. You gotta try the bowl. Drum roll.
That's so yummy.
Is it yummy?
Mm-hmm. I love it.
Yay!
10 for me.
All right, so I got my daughter's approval, and now I just gotta wait for my hubby to get home, and then we get to eat dinner. All right, so my One-Skillet Mediterranean chicken and pasta is perfect if you're having company over. It's impressive, but it's also super easy to make. So I'm gonna start with chicken thighs. You can do chicken breasts for this recipe, but I really like the flavor of the chicken thighs, and it just adds more flavor to the pasta. I'm gonna season both sides of the chicken thighs with salt and pepper, and then we'll get this going in the skillet once we have these seasoned. Okay, so I'm gonna add some olive oil, about 2 tablespoons to my skillet here. You definitely wanna make sure you have a pretty large, deep skillet. I love this Tefal brand. It comes with a lid, it's just sturdy, it's oven safe. I'll link it down below. It's my favorite pan, I use it all the time. So you're gonna wanna cook the chicken thighs on both sides for 5 minutes each. We're gonna end up cooking this a little bit later on, so you don't have to cook the chicken all the way through at this point. We just wanna get a nice golden brown crust on the outside. Okay, so now that our chicken is removed from the pan, we're gonna add in 1 tablespoon of butter and another tablespoon of olive oil. We'll also throw in a half a cup of diced onion. We're gonna cook this just until the onions are softened, and then we'll add in 1 teaspoon of garlic. And then I have a half a cup of julienne sun-dried tomatoes. These are not packed in oil, they're just dry. At this point, I just wanna hydrate the sun-dried tomatoes, so I'm gonna cook this about 1 more minute. And then I've got some pasta here. This is ditalini. I love the shape of this pasta. It's a little bit heartier than like orzo, but you can also use other shaped pasta like little mini bow tie pasta. And then we're gonna add in some seasonings. I've got 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning and 1/4 teaspoon of salt and a half a teaspoon of black pepper. So to the noodles, I'm gonna add 2 cups of fresh baby spinach. I actually added a little bit more. I think I have more like 3 cups here. And then I have 2.5 cups of chicken broth. You just want to stir this just to make sure that all the ingredients are mixed together as best as possible. And then we're going to take that chicken and nestle it back down into the pot. Okay, so once all of our chicken is back in the pan, we're going to turn the heat up to bring it to a boil, pop the lid on, and then turn it down to simmer for about 15 to 17 minutes until most of the liquid has absorbed into the noodles. So I found these pitted olives at the grocery store in a little container in the cheese section. I just drained off the oil. It was perfect, and these have so much more flavor than the jarred olives. And then I sliced up an entire lemon. I'm just gonna add these wedges here. I nestle it down into the noodles and the chicken. And then once I've done that, I'm gonna pop the lid back on and turn the heat off. And we're just gonna let the heat from the noodles and the chicken kind of warm the lemon and the olives through. OMW. That is fantastic. Okay. I have so many things I want to say. I love olives. Like, I love briny olives, and any kind of recipe that has olives and sun-dried tomatoes and those Mediterranean flavors, I am all over it. This feels like a fancy meal, and it was so easy to make on the stovetop in that one single pan. I love that. The little ditalini pastas, which I just think is such a funny name. It gives it great texture. I feel like I'm eating something more than just like that rice texture. The chicken thighs, the added spinach, the lemon over the top of everything. Oh my gosh, it is a fantastic meal. You would do this on a weeknight. But if you have company over, make them this One-Skillet chicken meal. They will be so impressed, and you will be happy because you won't have spent hours in the kitchen making it. Well, I hope that you enjoy these recipes as much as I do, and you feel inspired to try something new, and we will see you next time.